I'd say you describe yourself as someone who's honest, right? Maybe even you'd say that you are an honest person. Someone who doesn't lie. But let me ask you something. How many times have you lied this week? And now I'm talking the really, really little things. The text where you say that you're on your way, but you're lying on your bed. Or maybe when you tell someone they look good when maybe you would have chosen a different shirt or pants. Or you know what? Maybe you know that you're not that honest of a person. That's fine, that's cool, no judging. But maybe you would describe yourself as a climate activist. You're willing to make the small changes for a healthier planet. But you also just booked that flight for your Euro summer, didn't you? How do you justify that? Okay, maybe we're feeling a little bit uncomfortable. That feeling, the one you're feeling right now, that's what we're going to be talking about today. Cognitive dissonance is the mental discomfort that you feel when your beliefs don't match up with your actions. Or, you could also just have two contrary beliefs being held at the same time. For example, you may say that you care about animals. You may say that you care about your health. You may also say that you don't care what others think. Now, when you hold two beliefs, or when something you truly believe about yourself or about the world that we live in doesn't match up with your actions, there's a couple things that your brain might do to kind of ease that discomfort. One, you might just justify that one action as a one-off, says nothing about your personality. The other option is that you end up changing your belief. Because let's face it, changing your belief, changing how you feel about something is a lot easier than, time traveling and going back and not doing that action. For example, I feel like we've all heard someone kind of work through these mental gymnastics in order to justify their behavior. You may know someone that absolutely hates cheating or did hate cheating in the past. They would probably describe cheating as an inexcusable, irreparable, and intentional action. Now, these same people, if they go on to cheat in a relationship, they are much more likely to start to loosen their viewpoint on affairs. Maybe now, when asked, they would describe cheating as a mistake. Notice the difference from that intentional action to now it's just a mistake. And they'll often also go on to describe it not being as a part or a very good description of their character. And now what's really interesting is they won't only take this viewpoint when it comes to themselves. That would be a different bias, and we'll probably do a video on that in the future, but instead they will describe this as their viewpoint on cheating for anyone. And that's because we can't go back and we can't change our own behavior. So instead of feeling really uncomfortable that, I feel this way about cheating and I hate cheating, but I cheated, so do I hate myself? And so you end up instead saying something like, cheating's not that bad because I cheated and I'm not that bad, so therefore cheating can't be that bad. And now we've talked about what it can look like, but I want to kind of take a step back and I want to talk about the science behind cognitive dissonance because it is fairly interesting. Now, cognitive dissonance, this is very much more common than you would think. And that's because humans, we're not consistent. And this inconsistency makes us uncomfortable, and what humans hate most in this world is feeling uncomfortable. But then even more than that, fixing the discomfort, fixing that mismatch is incredibly rewarding from a neurological point of view. So I want to take a step back and I want to talk about the science behind cognitive dissonance. It all begins in the brain. It begins in the anterior cingulate cortex. It detects a conflict between two differing beliefs or values or behaviors. Then it's our prefrontal cortex that begins to rationalize decisions. This helps us to reduce discomfort, often by justifying our behaviors through altering our moral beliefs. And when this conflict is resolved, we trigger our dopamine reward pathway. And this makes everything seem all right in the world again, which ends up making us repeat the cycle. Now, I just told you that this happens all the time, that we all do it, that it's a human thing. So it kind of makes you question, does it really matter? And now I would argue yes, but I'll give you the facts and then you can judge whether or not you care about cognitive dissonance. The real problem actually lies with consistent, unattended to cognitive dissonance, because that will wear you down. And I'm talking, the big emotions, emotional burnout, identity confusion, rationalizing immoral actions, and less empathy overall and less moral awareness. Those are some big things, and I don't think either one of us want to be feeling those emotions. So instead of leaving it unaddressed, I ask you to just observe it, to be aware of what you're doing. And this video, that is the first step. You now know about cognitive dissonance. You may never be able to find complete harmony in our beliefs, in your actions, in your viewpoints. And that's because we are all human beings. But instead, just being aware of when the phenomenon happens and knowing what that kind of uncomfortable feeling is may be enough to make you start to feel better. Ever since I learned about cognitive dissonance, I started to see it everywhere, whether that be in myself, on TV, in my friends, and I'm sure the exact same thing will happen to you. And when it does, I urge you to remember that it isn't a flaw, but it's something that's just innately human. Take the discomfort you may feel as a warning sign that perhaps your actions are not aligning with the person that you say that you are. And maybe this awareness is the first step towards growth and really being sure that you are the version that you want to be. And yep, that's it for me. Thanks for sticking around to the end, and I look forward to chatting next time.